Namaste friends, welcome back to Pavi Tech Zone. In this video, we are going to learn about Android activity lifecycle. Today we will cover some theoretical concepts along with the practical execution with sample application. So stay tuned until end and don't forget to subscribe my channel to get more interesting videos. So let's get started. Let us understand why the activity lifecycle important. So as you know that today Android phone have gone through a lot of revolution. Today's Android phones have tremendous features and specifications. But still, as compared to the laptops and computers, Android phones are less in memory and processing power. Also, if your Android application has got millions of users, majority of them can't afford such high-tech and high-featured mobile phones. Your application may not support in every user's device. So to tackle this situation, you have to design your application in an optimized way, which will consume less power, less memory, and less resources. So your application will be light in user's mobile, and user can have better and fast response in your application. So the Android activity lifecycle guides us where to use resources and when to release resources in an optimized way. So what is an activity? So Android activity is the dedicated screen of an application. So let me explain by giving a real mobile application. Here I have PGCET study learning application. Let me just open it. So this is the home screen of the application. This complete screen is one activity. So from top to bottom, this complete screen is one activity. In the same way, if I click on any option, so like when I click on study material, it goes to another screen and it is another activity. So when I press back button, so it is the home screen, it is one activity. So when I click on syllabus, it opens new screen, it is another activity. So now, what is activity lifecycle? Activity lifecycle consists of all events and all the happenings occurred when we click to launch the application. We use it, we scroll down to get our desired actions. Sometimes we put actions in background and kill the application. So the complete session in which we use an application is called activity lifecycle. Your activity come across following states. It can be in active or running state. It can be in paused state, in stopped state, and in killed state. Let me practically describe the idea. Now, still now we have not opened our application. It is in the inactive state. So, when we open it, it comes to active or running state. So, next when we open any other activity, it comes to active state and previous activity is in the paused state but still present in the memory. When we go back again, it comes to the active state. Next, when we click on the home button, our application comes to paused state first and then stopped state. Application has stopped all its actions. So next, when we clear our app from the recent task, our application comes to the killed state. So no actions performed related to the app in the background. It is completely killed from the memory. Now let us understand what is activity stack. Activity stack is just like a memory container in the mobile phone. So when we open any of the application, the first screen is called as the activity 1, and when we click on any other options or any other task, and the activity 2 is called, which is pushed in the stack, and again when we click another option, it opens the new screen. It is called activity 3. Again, it is pushed inside the memory. Now, all the previous two activities are in paused state, and the activity 3 is in running state. So when I click back button, it comes to the activity 2, and activity 3 is popped from the stack. Now activity 2 is in running state. Let me explain it through an example. So when I open the application, so our Android activity put this activity in the first place. So when I go to another screen, new activity is pushed to the container. It appears on the top of the old activity or previous activity. When I open another screen, this activity is pushed to container. So now only one activity is in the running state or active state, two are in the paused state. But all three activities are in the memory. When I click back button, activity 3 is popped from the memory, and when I again click on back button, activity 2 is popped from the activity. So when I again click on back button, my application first comes to the paused state and then comes to the stopped state. So this was all about what is activity stack. These are the events we receive throughout the activity lifecycle. This diagram basically provided by the Android official documentation. It looks quite difficult, but I will try to explain it with the practical aspects which will be more easier for you to understand. So first, whenever we launch our application, so our activity get launched, and on create and on start and on resume. All these three functions come to the existence. First our application comes to on create function, then on start function, on resume function. As it will be in active state or running state, it is called as on resume function. Now our activity is in running state or active state. As it is in the top of the screen, now whenever another activity comes into the foreground, means when we click on any other activity, our present activity will come to the on pause function. So our activity is paused in the background as another activity is in the foreground. So when we click on back button from the foreground activity, it returns to the on resume function again. So again it comes to the running state, and again when we click on another activity, again it comes to the pause state, and again it comes to the resume state when the user clicks on back button. When it is in on paused state, if the user directly clicks the home button, it will comes to on stop function. Again when the user opens the app, it will comes to on restart, and again it comes to start, and again resume, and it comes to the running or active state. If the user directly kills app from the recent action, the on destroy function is called, and all the data is removed from the memory. So if you completely shut down or remove the app from the recent actions, all the memory will be released from the memory and app comes to the kill state. So this was all about this diagram. So when we launch our activity, on create, on start, on resume functions are called. So it comes to the running state, and when we click any other activity, it comes to the on paused state, and again when user clicks back button, again it comes to the resume state, to the active state, and when users click on home button, it comes to the on stopped state, and again when he restart the app, again it comes to on start state, and then resume state, it comes to the active or running state, and when he completely destroy the app, all the memory is released from the stack, so on destroy function is called. So let us understand it in more deeper way with the coding part. So let us jump to the Android Studio. Let us launch the Android Studio. Search for Android Studio. So let us continue with the same application. Click on Hello World application. So our application got successfully launched. Open the main activity.java. So as you can see here, onCreate function is by default given by the Android Studio itself. So it will be already given by the source file. So it is the mandatory callback. So let us define all other events. So as you can see here, next we have onStart function. Let us define it. Write onStart. So we have successfully included onStart function in our project. Next, we have onResume. Click on onResume. And next, we have onPause. And again, next we have onRestart. Next, onStop. And finally, we have onDestroy. So all our activity lifecycle events are included in this file. Now the question arises for you that how we will come to know that when these functions are called. So there is easy way to know the state of an event by putting the logs. So for this, we have to define the tag for our logs. Private static final. We will define the string as log tag. So we will put the tag as activity life cycle. Now we will put the log here by writing log dot I, and in the first argument we will write the tag, and we have defined it in log tag. And now we will write our message on create event called. In the same way, copy this log and write it in all events. On start, on resume, on pause, on restart, on stop, so finally on destroy event called. So now next step is to connect your phone to the Android Studio. If you don't know how to connect your device to the Android Studio, we have already made a video on it. So I have provided the link in the description. You can watch it. So as you can see, my device has been successfully connected. So now click on Run button. As you can see, Gradle building started. So our app got successfully launched inside the device, and open the locket screen. So as you can see here, there are many logs related to our Android application from the Android phone. So it has many logs. Let us check for our events called. So I will clear the app from the recent task. So I will kill our application and I will clear the logcat screen. Now when I open my application, so I will open the hello world application. So our logcat got updated. So as you can see here, on create event is called, on start event is called, and on resume event is called. So as per the diagram, on create, on start and on resume events are called when it is in the active or running state. So next, when I click on back button, so as you can see here, first on pause event is called and then on stop event is called. As I said you, whenever you click on back button or come to the home screen of your Android phone, first on pause event is called for the activity and then on stop event is called. So now when I remove the app from the recent task, so when I remove it from the recent task, you will get the default message by and logcat screen, process ended. So for our hello world application, all the memory is released from the stack and all the processing activities or tasks are ended. There are no any existing task or any processing activity in the running state. All got destroyed or killed. So I hope this was an helpful video for you. It is mandatory to know the Android activity lifecycle because in the previous sections you will be working on so many activities. You must be aware about how to initiate the resources and release the resources in the activity. So if you like this video, please click on like button and don't forget to subscribe my channel for more interesting videos. Thank you.